Have you ever thought about what makes some people stronger and more capable than others? How do they handle life's ups and downs like they do? I've met some strong people in my life, and I'm always amazed at how they keep going, even when everything around them falls apart. Perhaps they wear lucky charms, or there is something else that makes their minds better than other people. Your habits and way of thinking can often make you mentally strong or weak. Simply put, mental weakness means not being able to deal with worry or losses with confidence. If you're mentally or emotionally weak, you might feel helpless, pessimistic, and like you can't handle the ups and downs of life. But what makes people weak? Today's Meaningful will give you the answer. Travel with Stoic philosophy on a journey to understand your own soul. You will learn how to quietly get rid of 10 bad habits that make you weak. Before we start, I want to give you a small challenge. Watch the video all the way through and don't miss any of these lessons. Even one of them can make a big difference in your life. Get rid of things that aren't important to change your life and live a happier one. Number 1. Not taking responsibility for your problems. Before I talk about the first habit, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever found yourself in the shadow of blame? When life takes an unexpected turn, it's natural to point the finger at others as a way to protect our ego. But Stoicism asks us to shine a light on this shadow, showing us a way to personal empowerment and peace. Let me tell you a story from ancient times about the philosopher Epictetus, who was born into slavery but found freedom in his mind. Epictetus taught that how we react to life's challenges is what really defines our freedom. It's not what happens to you that matters, how you react. Just think about what would have happened if Epictetus had given in to blame. Would his lessons have made it to the shores of our consciousness today? When you think about your own life, can you think of a time when blaming others really helped you feel better? Or did it get in the way of your growth? Stoicism doesn't tell us to ignore what other people do, but to realize that our power lies in how we react to them. It teaches us to ask ourselves, what am I able to control? This question leads us through the stormy seas of blame to the calm. Let's challenge ourselves to follow this Stoic advice. When we want to blame someone, let's pause and think. How can I handle this situation in a way that shows my inner strength and values? When we live responsibly, we discover our own abilities and can turn problems into chances for growth and success. So I leave you with this question. Will you choose to deal with life's problems by blaming others, or by seeing them as opportunities for responsibility and success? You have a choice, and that choice gives you freedom. Stoic philosophy says that taking responsibility for your deeds and problems is a key part of growing as a person and finding inner peace. The Stoics thought that how we see and deal with life's problems shows what kind of person we are and how healthy we are generally. We lose control of our lives and slow our growth when we don't take responsibility for our problems. From a Stoic point of view, this lesson looks at how important it is to take responsibility for our problems and gives us useful tips on how to develop this attitude, taking responsibility for actions and outcomes. According to the Stoics, it is very important to understand that the things we do have direct effects on our lives. When we admit that we caused our problems, we give ourselves the power to change and make things better. If you miss a deadline, don't blame outside factors. Instead, think about how your actions or lack of planning made the situation worse. Pay attention to what you can change. The Stoic theory says that we should focus on what we can control and let go of what we can't. This idea is supported by taking responsibility for our problems, which means controlling our reactions and actions instead of the things that happen to us. If you're in a bad relationship, don't try to change the other person. Instead, work on how you can communicate and act better with them. How to develop a growth mindset. Taking responsibility for your actions encourages a growth attitude, in which problems are seen as chances to learn and grow. This point of view is very important for mental growth and strength. If you have a loss at work, don't see it as a failure. Instead, see it as a chance to learn new skills or get better at ones you already have. How to build trust and integrity. By consistently taking responsibility for your actions, you show that you are honest and earn other people's trust. It shows that you are responsible and trustworthy, which are important for good relationships and good leadership. If you mess up on a group project, owning up to it and trying to fix it builds your trustworthiness and shows that you care about the team's success. Peace of mind and emotional stability. Taking responsibility for your problems brings peace of mind and mental security. When you take responsibility, you stop blaming other people and outside events, which makes you feel less frustrated and powerless. If you're not happy with your current situation, thinking about what you can change about yourself or your surroundings can help you feel calm and in control. Taking responsibility for your problems, which is a Stoic concept, is a practice that can change your life and make you stronger and healthier generally. We can make our lives better and our relationships with others stronger by recognizing our part in the problems we face and focusing on what we can change. In line with the timeless knowledge of Stoic philosophy, having this way of thinking will make your life more powerful and peaceful. Number 2, you're not leaving your comfort zone. Have you ever had the beginnings of a dream or goal, but you couldn't move forward because of the unseen chains of comfort? This is a familiar story that happens everywhere and at all times. Safe and comfortable places are also cages that hold us back from our full potential. Musonius Rudus is not well known, but he is very smart. Stoic philosophers thought that learning how to think was only part of education. They also believed that learning how to live was just as important. They pushed their students to confront their fears and do what they said they would do, because they knew that growth doesn't happen on a calm shore, but in a rough sea of challenges. Stoicism tells us that facing trials on purpose is the only way to not only show how good we are, but also make them stronger. Just like muscles get stronger when they're worked out, our character grows when we face challenges. When we leave our comfort zone, we don't just step into the unknown, we step into our power. We learn that our abilities aren't fixed, but can grow. We find that fear isn't a wall, but a gate waiting to be unlocked. So remember that if you want to grow, discomfort is your ally. Embrace it with courage and curiosity, and think about what you would try if you knew you couldn't fail. Let the answers lead you beyond the limits of your comfort zone and into your vast potential. If you are ready to step out of your comfort zone, I have a small challenge for you. Like this video and leave a comment. Get out of your safe zone. Let's see how many people can finish this little test. Number 3, being too interested in fame and money. Have you ever had a dream that your name was in lights or that you were rich beyond measure? This is a common dream that is fed by the way our culture values fame and money. Think about the story of Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher. Even though he was very powerful and well-known, Marcus found comfort in writing in his journal, where he wrote about the benefits of being humble, how claims are temporary, and how true worth is found in self-mastery and service. His writings make us think about what really makes our souls happy. Stoicism teaches us that seeking pleasures from the outside world is a dangerous path. It makes me sad to think that fame is just other people's opinions, and fortune is just things that can be lost just as quickly as they are gained. Let us think about this. Have you ever reached a long-term goal only to feel empty afterwards? This is the Stoic pursuit. to live a life where your worth is not measured by accolades or accumulations, but by the strength of your character, the depth of your compassion, and the contributions you make to the world around you. This is the Stoic pursuit, so I hope you think about your own life. Would you let the pursuit of fame and fortune overshadow more meaningful endeavors in any field? How might your life change if you put that energy into personal growth and the betterment of others? Finally, let us remember that true happiness and fulfillment come not from the approval of others, fame and wealth, but from living an ethical and purposeful life. Let this Stoic wisdom guide us toward a fulfilling and meaningful life. Number 4, giving up when things get tough. Have you ever felt the weight of the trip ahead of you as you stood at the base of a mountain, whether it was real or imagined? Stoic knowledge helps us find our way when the road is steep and our spirit falters. I'd like to tell you about Cato the Younger, who was a recognized figure not only for his political savvy, but also for sticking to his beliefs even when things got tough. Cato's life shows that our character is shown not in times of ease, but in times of trouble. When Cato was faced with extreme hardship, rather than giving in to tyranny, he chose the path of honor. His story is a powerful reminder that the essence of courage is not avoiding trouble, but how we deal with it. So when you face a challenge, what is your first thought? You can run back to the safety of the known, or keep going through the pain. Stoicism tells us that every problem is a chance to get better. People who have been through hard times before us have taught us what it means to be truly resilient. So the next time you feel like giving up, remember the legacy of those who have gone before you. Let's welcome our struggles with open arms, knowing that every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory over the forces that want to hold us back. As Seneca once said, there is no favorable wind for a sailor who does not know where he is going. We all face hard times in our lives, problems that test our strength and push us to the edge. There are deep lessons in the Stoic philosophy that can help you get through these hard times with grace and strength. People usually think of giving up when things get hard as a failure, but from a Stoic point of view, it can be seen as a smart and strong choice. This lesson will look at the Stoic way of dealing with problems and figuring out when to keep going and when to give up. Understanding control. The Stoics stress how important it is to know the difference between what we can control and what we can't. We can focus on things we can control and accept things we can't change by following this approach. Application. Think about the hard times you're going through. Figuring out what you can change and what you can't is important. This can help you decide whether to keep going or take a step back. Evaluation of reason. The main idea of Stoicism is that we should make decisions using reasoning and reason. Emotions can make it hard to think clearly, which can cause us to make hasty or illogical decisions. Application. Take a step back and think about what's going on logically. Think about the good and bad things about going versus quitting. Taking a reasonable method will help you make a choice based on facts, not just feelings. Valuing virtue. The main idea is that for Stoics, living a good life is the final goal. Virtues like knowledge, courage, fairness, and moderation should guide every choice you make. Application. Think about whether giving up or sticking with it is more in line with your values and ideals. Giving up a bad habit can be the most honorable thing you can do, showing that you are smart and respect yourself. Core idea of embracing resilience. Difficulties are chances to learn and get stronger. The Stoic way of thinking sees problems as chances to get stronger and more brave inside. Before you decide to quit, think about how you could grow as a person. Take the task as a chance to show how strong you are. But know that sometimes real power means knowing when to let go and focus your efforts in a better way. Putting mental health first. Stoicism understands how important it is to be mentally and emotionally healthy. Putting up with a bad situation can cause needless pain and mental stress. How to use. Think about how the hard times are affecting your mental health. If continuing to persist is giving you a lot of stress, stopping might be the better choice. Stoicism encourages people to stay calm and emotionally balanced. It's not always a sign of weakness or failure to give up when things get hard. We can make smart choices about when to hold on and when to let go by using Stoic concepts. Knowing what we can control, using logic, having virtue, being resilient, and putting mental health first are all important ways to deal with problems. Finally, the Stoic way of thinking helps us stay true to ourselves and at peace within, no matter what is going on around us. Number 5, letting your feelings control you. Have you ever been hit by a storm of emotions and then later wondered how you could have reacted differently? This is a common experience that shows how powerful emotions are in shaping our lives and decisions. However, Stoicism can help you find your way through these rough waters. Let me tell you a story about Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism. He lost everything he owned in a shipwreck, but instead of giving up, he used it as a chance to find inner wealth. His journey led him to the realization that our emotions should not control us, but rather be understood and used to guide us. Zeno's journey from grief to enlightenment shows how to master your emotions by seeing them not as enemies, but as teachers. Think about how often you've let your emotions control your actions, and imagine how strong you could become if you instead stopped to notice your emotions and chose a response that was in line with your values. Stoic philosophy doesn't tell us to hide our feelings, but to change how we react to them. It teaches us that even though we can't change the world around us, we can change how we react to it, and that's where our real power lies. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by emotion, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what would a Stoic do? This simple question can help you regain your balance by reminding you that you have the strength to choose your own path and not let your emotions guide you. When we embrace Stoicism, we find not only peace, but also a deep sense of empowerment. We learn that the hardest parts of mastering our feelings can become our biggest chances to grow. Let's go on this journey together, making our problems into stepping stones to a good and peaceful life. Remember that what makes us unique is not the lack of feeling, but how we manage the seas of our inner world. Number 6. Put ego ahead of inner knowledge. As we learn more about ourselves and the world, we will talk about something that is deeply rooted in our lives but is often forgotten: the tendency to put ego over inner wisdom. Have you ever noticed how the ego screams for attention, wanting to be heard and accepted, while the gentle voice of inner knowledge speaks, waits quietly to be heard? This is a fight we all face, as the loud demands of ego often drown out the deep, quiet guidance of our inner selves. Let us think about an ancient Stoic story. Epictetus was a slave who became a philosopher who taught people how to live in harmony with nature and themselves. Epictetus thought that the greatest victory was defeating oneself by putting intellect above ego. He saw the ego as a tyrant, ruled by desire and fear, while wisdom brings freedom and peace. Imagine for a moment what would have happened if Epictetus had let his circumstances or ego define him. Would his ideas have reached and inspired countless generations? Now think about your own life. Have you ever felt empty or unfulfilled when pursuing ego-driven goals? How might your life change if you paid more attention to your inner wisdom? Stoicism helps us understand that true strength, happiness, and wisdom don't come from outside praise, but from being in tune with our true selves. It teaches us to question our motivations to see if they are driven by the fleeting demands of ego or the timeless guidance of wisdom. Let us start a daily practice of introspection by asking ourselves, is this the voice of my ego or my inner wisdom speaking? This question will help you make decisions that are in line with your true values and essence. By embracing this Stoic lesson, we find peace and a deeper connection to ourselves and the world around us. Number 7, thinking about the past. You might like me. We all get stuck in the past sometimes. This habit, which is very natural, keeps us tied to times that we no longer remember, which keeps us from fully enjoying the present and all the possibilities it holds. Let me share with you some wise words from Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher. Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. Marcus Aurelius, despite the size and complexity of his tasks, knew that dwelling on things that can't be changed was pointless. He believed that the moment was the only real place where people could act, make choices, and live by their principles. Stoicism tells us that the past, even though it's a part of our story, doesn't have to control our present or our future. It tells us to recognize our past, learn from it, and then bravely look forward. This philosophy doesn't ignore the past. Instead, it puts it in perspective, giving us the power to live fully in the present, where our power really lies. As we go through the challenges of life, let's try to develop a mindset that honors the past but isn't bound by it. Let's welcome the present with gratitude and intention. Realizing that every moment is a chance to start over, let us follow the way of Stoicism with open hearts and minds, using its lessons to help us let go of the past. When we cherish the present and look forward to the future with hope and resolve, we unlock the full potential of our lives and leave a legacy of wisdom, virtue, and peace. If you're ready to unlock your full potential, show your resolve by commenting, "Live in the present moment." Let's not let the darkness of the past stop us. It's normal for people to think about the past. It gives us a sense of who we are and keeps us going. But how we deal with our past can have a big effect on our present happiness and future growth. Stoic philosophy says that you should think about the past, but you should do it in a thoughtful and logical way, using Stoic ideas to help you grow and be strong. This lesson will talk about how to think about the past in a healthy way. Acknowledge without living there. Important point, remember what happened in the past without getting stuck in it. Stoicism says that it's important to remember the things that happened in the past, but we shouldn't dwell on them. Thinking too much about the past can make us feel bad, give us worry, and keep us from living fully in the present. Think about what happened in the past to better understand it, but then return your attention to the present and what you can do right now. Learn from your mistakes. Key point: learn from your mistakes to improve yourself. Every mistake has a lesson to teach. By looking at what went wrong, we can learn important lessons and keep from making the same mistakes. This way of doing things fits with the Stoic idea of always getting better. Find a mistake you made in the past, figure out why you made it, and make a plan to avoid making the same mistake again. Grow your gratitude. Important point: value the good things that happened to you in the past and how they changed your life. Thinking about the good times can make you more grateful, which can make you happier and stronger overall. Stoics say that being thankful is an important part of living a healthy life. Take regular time to think about and enjoy the good things that have happened to you in the past, and think about how those good things have shaped who you are now. Let go of your anger. Key point: let go of bad feelings that are connected to the past. Keeping anger and hatred from wrongs done in the past can be bad for your mental and emotional health. Stoicism says that we can't change what happened in the past, but we can change how we feel about it now. Move forward by forgiving yourself and others and showing kindness to get rid of the weight of old grudges. Take a look at change and impermanence. Accept that things will always change and that the past can't be changed. What does this mean? Stoics know that everything is changing all the time. Adopting this idea can help you accept the way things turned out instead of hoping they were different. Action. Think about how short life is and tell yourself that everything that has happened in the past, good or bad, is part of the flow of existence. If you look at the past through the eyes of a Stoic, it can become a source of knowledge and power instead of regret or longing. We can use our past to live a fuller and wiser life in the present by recognizing it without focusing on it, learning from our mistakes, being grateful, letting go of our anger, and welcoming change. Number 8, making complaints about things you can't change. A pretty common habit that I'm sure everyone has had at least once is complaining about things we can't change, like the weather, traffic, or other people's actions. It's easy to let these outside factors affect our mood and day, but Stoicism can help us break this habit by helping us understand that even though we can't change the world around us, we do have the power to choose how we react to it. Read the words of Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher who taught that our pain doesn't come from events, but from how we think about them. He told his students to separate what they could control, their thoughts, feelings, and actions, from what they couldn't. This difference is at the heart of Stoic tranquility. Think about the last time you complained about something that wasn't in your control. What happened? Did your complaints change the situation, or did they make you feel worse? Stoicism doesn't tell us to control our natural reactions. Instead, it tells us to change how we think about things and how we react to them. By adopting this way of thinking, we change how we deal with the problems that come up in life. We learn to deal with them not with anger, but with fairness and strength. As we move forward, let's challenge ourselves to adopt this Stoic practice. The next time we're about to complain about something outside of our control, let's stop and ask ourselves, is this something I can control? If the answer is no, let's focus on what we can control, our thoughts, attitudes, and actions. By doing this, we not only make our own inner worlds more peaceful, but we also encourage those around us to think about how they deal with life's uncontrollable events. Stoic wisdom can help us create a life of greater contentment, purpose, and joy. By embracing this Stoic lesson, we find not only peace, but also a deeper connection to ourselves and the world around us. We learn that by muting the voice of ego and amplifying the voice of inner wisdom, we can create a life of authenticity, purpose, and joy. Number 9, indulging in excessive pleasures. In our search for a good life, it's normal to want to avoid pain and seek pleasure. But Stoicism asks us to think about a more complex way of looking at things. The Stoics, wise philosophers of ancient times, taught that while pleasures are part of life, excessive indulgence can enslave us, distancing us from our deeper virtues and the essence of what it truly means to live well. Think for a moment about the fleeting satisfaction that comes from indulging in too much of a good thing, whether it's the temporary bliss of a lavish feast, the allure of endless entertainment, or the seductive pull of material possessions. These pleasures soon fade, leaving us in a cycle of wanting more. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus warned us, freedom is not procured by a full enjoyment of what is desired, but by controlling the desire. Now ask yourself, have you ever felt emptier after a pursuit of excess? The Stoics would say, this is because true contentment doesn't come from external sources, but from living in harmony with our nature, practicing self-discipline and focusing on personal growth. Stoicism doesn't call for a life without pleasure. Instead, it tells us to enjoy life's pleasures in moderation, with mindfulness and gratitude, and to always remember that our ultimate goal is not pleasure itself, but a good and meaningful life. It teaches us to ask ourselves, does this pleasure contribute to my well-being, or does it distract me from it? In the end, let us try to find a balance between pleasure and purpose, knowing that the richest life is one lived in line with our deepest values and goals. This Stoic path doesn't take away from life's pleasures. Instead, it teaches you how to really enjoy them, which leads to lasting peace and happiness. According to Stoicism, enjoying too many joys is a bad thing that can happen because it can make you lose your self-control and inner peace. The Stoics thought that the only way to be truly happy and at peace was to live a good and sensible life, rather than letting our wants and emotions control us. Being moderate and self-disciplined can help us live a more peaceful and satisfying life. This lesson will look at what Stoics think about having too many pleasures and give you tips on how to avoid them. How to understand too much pleasure. According to the Stoics, extra joys are those that are more than what is needed for a good and simple life. Some examples of these kinds of joys are enjoying too much food, drink, fun, and other sense pleasures. People who seek these joys often become dependent on them and lose control of their body. What it does to virtue. Indulging in too many joys can hurt your character and morals. It takes attention away from the four main Stoic virtues: knowledge, justice, courage, and moderation. Too many joys can make people less moral because they make them selfish and less concerned with higher values. The false hope of happiness. Stoics say that the happiness that comes from having too much is short-lived and often leads to long-term dissatisfaction. Stoicism says that true happiness comes from inner peace and satisfaction, which can only be reached by being good and self-disciplined. Because too many pleasures only last for a short time, they can't give you long-term happiness. Moderation in action. Moderation is an important Stoic idea that helps keep life in order. Moderation is the key to enjoying life's joys without becoming trapped by them. Some ways to develop balance are to eat mindfully, limit your time spent on entertainment, and do important things. Building up your inner strength. It takes inner strength and resolve to say no to too many joys. Stoics think that learning to control yourself is important for keeping your peace of mind. Meditation, deep study, and philosophical thought can all help you stay determined to avoid excess. Adopting Stoic ideas into our daily lives can help us fight the pull of too many joys and live a better, more satisfying life. We can find true happiness and mental peace if we know the dangers of overindulging and practice balance. Number 10, fearing death. As we go through life, the fear of death often hangs over us like a shadow, affecting our decisions and coloring our experiences. But Stoicism encourages us to face this fear head-on, not to ignore it, but to understand what it is and how it fits into our lives. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher who wrote a lot about life and death, said that fearing death is like fearing the sunset. It's a natural part of the cycle of existence. He told us to see death not as an enemy, but as a natural process, a return to the universe from which we came, each of us born to be a part of the grand procession of humanity. Stoicism teaches us that fearing death is fearing the unknown, and when we're afraid of the unknown, we forget to enjoy the present moment. It also reminds us that while we can't change the fact that death is inevitable, we have a lot of control over how we live our lives. By following the Stoic principle of living according to nature, we learn to appreciate the beauty of life, be good, and accept the natural cycle of life and death. As we continue on our path, let's challenge ourselves to face our fear of death, not with dread, but with curiosity and courage. Let's live each day with intention, making the most of the time we have, because every moment is a precious part of this great and beautiful parade that is life. I told you about 10 bad habits that weaken you. Getting rid of bad habits that make you mentally unstable will take work, but you will get a good reward in the end. Remember that real strength is not running away from things, but facing them head-on with courage and compassion. Keep doing these things to have a great life if you were inspired by today's journey with the Stoic philosophy. If you liked the video and want to see more, please subscribe to the channel. That way, you won't miss any video we share in the future.